So if you're watching this video, you're probably wondering how on earth did a guy like me with a very small following on social media end up getting free accommodation in the middle of Thailand? Well, I'm about to answer that. So for the past 2 weeks, I've been staying here at Riverfront Resort in Khao Sok National Park in Thailand, entirely free. This means that all of my food, 3 meals a day, all of my accommodation as in places to sleep, and all of my excursions such as visiting elephants, taking a Thai cooking class, and going deep into the jungles and exploring the lake here in Khao Sok National Park have been entirely free. And I'm going to explain how you can have this too. So because I don't have a large social media following, I've had to rely on exclusively bringing the business here at the resort value. And that starts with the skills that I've acquired and the skills that I have that can benefit their business in the long run. Before I describe the value of what I can bring to this business, or what I have been bringing to this business, I'll explain a little bit about the story of how I ended up in this position in the first place. So I went to agoda.com and I booked this resort through there for the equivalent of about 20 Canadian dollars a night. Thought it was a little nicer than the hostels I was staying in terms of accommodation, but still within my price range and my budget for what I could afford to pay. When I arrived here at the resort, I'd already paid, got up front, gave them my money, sat back down at the restaurant, right at the front, right where reception is, and just was waiting for my meal. And Bodhi, the owner here, or the head of marketing, and he's one of the head guys at the resort and for several other resorts in the area, basically just asked what I was doing out here, what I was looking forward to the most, and I explained to him that I'm a videographer and aspiring photographer, traveling across Southeast Asia for 2.5 months, working on a personal brand mission to make as much content as possible so that hopefully one day I can do these trips and be paid for them by brands, travel agencies, tourism boards, etc. He had asked to see some of my work, so I linked him to my chili highlight reel edit, which I made a few months ago just to show him off what I could do. He enjoyed that project and asked if I would be interested in 8 to 11 days of working here on the resort with the perks that I just described, and I have to do quite a bit of work as well. Immediately I was interested, as this is the exact type of work that I want to be doing in my future, and the reason that I came on this trip to build a large enough portfolio of work that I could present to people and try and leverage that so that maybe I can help their business out through videography, photography, or even marketing skills. So when I talk about value, obviously what I'm talking about is there has to be a fair value of exchange. So for instance, in my case, I get free accommodation, free food, and free excursions. Those 3 things, which can be pretty expensive over the course of 2 weeks, but in exchange, what I provide to them are brand new and updated menu photos for menus of food at 2 different resorts. I provide vlog and marketing footage that they can also use to promote their excursions that give a more personal touch. I can provide a restaurant video that I made for the restaurant here at the resort that kind of tells the story of the beginning of them cooking the food to the end of people socializing and enjoying the restaurant slash cafe here as well, among tons of other projects. So it's not just about me staying here and looking cool and getting this work. What it means is that I have to spend about 3 to 4 full days of completely sacrificing any plans I could make to edit. And when you're someone like me and you actually enjoy the editing process, that's part of the job that you tend to enjoy as well. So when I edit a vlog or when I edit this content, I get to relive those memories all over again, and I get to create them for somebody else that can potentially use them to maybe help recommend me in the future, as well as to potentially intrigue future customers with a more personal touch. So essentially what I become to the resort is a facilitator for marketing content that they can be using for their Facebook pages, for their Instagram. They can also run ads upon those, the photos and the videos that I curate for them, TripAdvisor, and their website. So all the content that I'm creating for them can be used to promote their business and to also help bring in more customers in the future. On top of all that, I also have been consulting them on how to use Instagram and Facebook ads effectively and efficiently so that I can also teach them how to do this for themselves so that they don't have to depend on me or somebody else coming in the future. This is the value that I'm trying to give and over-exaggerate on, as opposed to taking everything in return. So while I've been here, that's been my central focus, is over-indexing on the amount of value that I can provide. For example, what I mean by that is when I'm out here, I'm trying to shoot everything as quick as possible and edit it even faster. So if I'm filming menu items, or if I'm filming the restaurant, or if I'm filming excursions, I try and film that all within 1 day or within a couple hours, and then have that edit or have those photos delivered by the end of that same day. If you've whoever works back home in Ottawa with my boy What's Good B-Tong, shout out to him. You know that speed is what kills, and speed, that's the secret sauce that you have to deliver on every single time, and ultimately that's what makes people and clients much more happy. Now in my instance, in my particular case, I'm leveraging heavy in my photo and video skills that I can provide to Riverfront Resort here in Calsock National Park. But you don't necessarily have to be a videographer or have to be a photographer to make this work. There are tons of different options and methods that you can bring just as much value to a resort, to a business, to a hostel, to anywhere that can offer you in exchange something back in return. For instance, you could be a graphic designer and maybe you notice that their menu logos or their resort logo isn't as poppin' or as fancy as possible. You could be a website developer and you could possibly look at their website, check it out, and maybe they need work on that. Maybe you're really good at HR and communications and you can teach them how to strategize better leadership from the top down that maybe they're really struggling with. There's entire possibilities of ways that you can commodify your skill set, your assets, into exchange for free accommodation and free food as you travel. Now the cool thing about leveraging the skills that you already have and you already have developed is that oftentimes these skills are things that you love to do anyways. So for me, video and photo is just something I like to do. I like coming out to places in this part of the world, exploring and documenting them as much as I can, sharing them with my friends and family back home, despite me not actually having the power of a large social influence to pull people in. Maybe you really love cooking and you want to help them out with their menu or improve their food, and maybe you're a talented chef and you can do that way. Or maybe you're a plumber and you can go in and you say, hey, if you have any issues with your pipes or within any sort of thing here, you can leverage that skill set or your work that you already do back home into benefiting businesses, resorts, clients out here in different parts of the world. But that's not to say that it's gonna work every single time. I, for one, got really lucky that the resort I happened to book online was actually looking for someone that could provide the value that I am, which just happened to have all the stars align, and that worked out well for me. Great, I love that. I'll get a good recommendation to another place, or you can leverage the connections that they already have made here into another potential client in the future. Now, if you're coming this far, going to the other side of the world, and you don't know where to start, here's a few tips. Tip number 1, go to Agoda, check Airbnb, check Kayak, check any website where you're actually going to be booking your accommodations, and investigate and see if their photos or their website are up to par or up to standards that can actually attract more clients. If you notice that their photos aren't very good, then that's an opportunity for you to come in and take high quality photos and pictures that they can use for their website. If you notice that they don't have any videography or video work on their website or any of their channels, that's an opportunity for you to come in and do some marketing for them. Tip number 2, if you happen to find their website, look up their contact information, send them an email, tell them a little bit about what you do, the value that you can provide, whether that's photo, video, plumbing, or any sort of skill that you can give them, and see if they're interested, see if they're actually looking and actively searching for someone with your particular skill set. And if they aren't looking for someone that has the skills that you can provide, explain to them why it's valuable to them. Third tip for actually finding these potential clients and actually potentially, like myself, having some success with it is stay away from 4- and 5-star resorts. Fourth thing that you have to know when you're approaching these clients is that you actually have to be willing to put in quite a bit and quite a large amount of work into making this content or whatever work it is for them in that exchange. So for instance, I've probably put in about 30 to 40 hours in the past maybe 4 or 5 days into content production, into filming, into editing, into creating things for them. The past 3 days I have not explored, I have not done anything other than edit about 4 or 5 videos and 200 photos for the clients here. And that's okay, I enjoy that process, I enjoy the editing, I enjoy that. And if you are not motivated by the actual creation of what you're doing and the work that you're putting in, then one, the work that you're doing is not going to look as good, it's not going to be as authentic, and the client's not going to be as happy with it, and two, it's going to feel like work, and that's going to suck. So when you enjoy what you're doing and you come out here and you think of the client first and you're trying to provide them with as much value and as much opportunity as possible, then things are going to work out. But if you just want to take everything from them and take the accommodations, take the food, take the excursions without putting in the work to match what they're giving you, then it's it's not going to be a fair relationship. You're not going to be able to do this in the future, and you're just not going to establish yourself a good repertoire. And so that's what I hope this opportunity provides for me, is an opportunity to look at other brands or other people, other resorts, saying I have done this before, I do have happy people, and the work that I've done has worked. So with that, I'll probably end the video here. Thank you for watching. I hope this did help you guys out if you're watching this, and maybe if you don't have a social media following, think about the skills that you do have that you can provide to somebody else, so that one day you can get clients like this as you go. It's not a foolproof way to get travel 24/7 all the time, but if you come out on big trips like this, maybe you can get a client or two, and it can save you quite a bit on your travels. So until next time, peace and goodbye. Thank you for watching this far, and I love you.